As you'll know if you've played, in poker there's a ladder of hand rankings. The aim is to make the best hand from the 7 cards available. That is the 2 private or whole cards plus the 5 community cards that are dealt face up on what is known as the board. The lowest hand is one with only a high card, 5 unrelated cards. One step up from this is 1 pair. That is 2 cards of the same rank. 2 pairs are better. Quite a nice hand that can win lots of pots. 3 of a kind, though, is better still. That's 3 cards of the same rank, also known as a set or trips. Next up is a straight, 5 cards of consecutive rank. But get 5 cards of the same suit and you're holding a flush. Combine a pair with 3 of a kind and you've got yourself a full house, an excellent hand which you'd be unlucky to lose with. 4 of a kind does beat that, though. That's 4 cards of the same rank. Above that is a straight flush, 5 consecutive cards, all of the same suit. But the best hand possible is the royal flush, and if you get one of those, hope that someone else has got a good hand, because you are going to get paid big style. When your whole or private cards are dealt, what are the things you should be thinking about before you decide to play that hand? It's critical to start off with good cards. In Hold'em, the best starting hands are pairs of aces, kings or queens. But let's be realistic, you're not going to get those every hand. Once in a while is really about as good as it gets. So first, consider the potential of the 2 cards you do have. If all the private cards were suddenly turned face up now, how do you think you'd do? Also, consider the effect of the flop. What cards do you need to see on the flop to improve your hand to a winning one? For example, if you already have a small pair, then 1 more card of the same rank coming down on the flop puts you in a fantastic position. Another consideration is the size of the bet. Do the 2 cards you have in your hand warrant a bet at all? Finally, there's your position at the table. If you're in late position, then you'll see how many opponents are left to beat. And if it's only 1 or 2, then your ace-4 might look more tempting. If you're new to the game, though, try and stick to playing only these premium starting hands, especially when you don't have position. It takes patience and discipline, but it won't half help build your chip stack. With 169 possible types of starting hands, it's fair to say you'd have to be very, very patient to play only these hands, the 12 highest ranked premium hands. Playing only these means you're involved in an average of just 1 in 14 hands. I suspect if you do that, you'll get bored and frustrated, so to combat it, consider your position at the table. In the late position, you'll be able to play many more start cards because you'll know how many players you're up against and the size of the bet you'll need to commit. There's also less likelihood that you'll be raised because you're one of the last to act. For example, starting hands like these can be played from the middle position with a good degree of confidence. Raised with hands like a pair of jacks, 10s or 9s, and with ace-queen suited and ace-queen offsuit. In the late position, even more start hand combinations become playable. All the middle and low pairs plus rag aces, that is, an ace with a low kicker. But do stick to the premium hands in early position. You can play the riskier potential hands from the middle and late position. Potential cards are just that, 2 starting cards that have the possibility of leading you to a winning hand and pot. The value of these potential hands depends on a couple of key factors: how much you have to pay to play them and what cards come down on the flop. If no one has bet before you or there's just been a small raise, you might think it's worth just calling to see a flop, especially with, say, ace-10 suited or a middle pair. That's because you might flop ace-10 to score 2 pair or add a 3rd card to your pair to make a set. That would put you in a very strong position because no one else is likely to put you on that hand. Of course, on the downside, in this example, you'd be vulnerable to someone slow playing ace-queen who now also has 2 pair, but higher ones than you. And that's where another factor comes in. If you're going to play these hands that have potential, remember that key word: potential. If the flop doesn't favour your hand, then fold. After all, unless you've overbet it, it shouldn't have cost you that much, and chips you don't bet now on a lost cause are chips saved.